Have you ever wondered what games you should keep or you should lose? Find out here at Purge Reviews.
So based on the number of players, you are going to pick a person to be. Set aside the evils, you won't need those at the start of the game. For the most part, you need 4 of these running. So in a 2-player game, you'll play 2. Each of these will have a story on the back, and then you'll see a shaded in area. You'll put a cube into each of these, and these will be your starting stats that you'll have, and you can see where they can max out. You're also going to have a power over here to the left for each of the characters that will require an action point by the hour sign. And then you'll usually have one over here that is passive if you meet this. In this case, I had to have agility of 5. So once I get the agility up here, then the passive ability will come on. The rest of this is going to be just a list of the main actions and the sub actions you can have, which are free, and then your starter card that you're going to have there. You can have a maximum of 5 items, but you can only have 2 stocked and ready to go at a certain time. I do want to explain how to win. So once you get to the bunker, you're going to be able to pull a number out, and you'll have a number in here. So now you have to reach 21. As you go to these decode tiles, you'll be able, the first time you search there, you're going to get a number, which will be a player. After you do that, once you search it once, you'll put a computer on it. After you search it again, you're going to take one of these tiles, which will be a multiplier. And for an action when you're at the bunker, you can put these in. So 5 times whatever number that you would put in next. So let's say 5 times 4 is 20. So I'm getting pretty close to that, right? Maybe I do a plus sign right there. Plus 1 is 21. Then if I was at the bunker tile, then I would win the game. And there's the bunker tile that I would need to get to. Put the numerical things in to equal that. And then everybody got there, you would win the game. Now the players are going to lose if they ever get 2 wounds. They become critically injured, which means they can only crawl now around the board and pick up an herb, or they can be healed by somebody else. Nobody can heal themselves except for Vivian. That's going to be her power, is that she can actually heal herself. But everybody else needs somebody else. So if all the characters become critically injured or 2 become eliminated, then the evil will win the game. I'm just going to give a quick overview on how to play the game. So when the game starts, there'll be a start tile, and you'll have your miniature on there. Then maybe your first action will be to run. And run is going to be an action you'll do a lot. So when she starts out, she's going to have a thing on her 3. So you roll a number of dice based on your agility, and that's how many spots you can move. So she can move 3. So what she would do is take a tile off the top of the deck, and it just has to connect to a path, and then she can move there. Now, when she moves that location, she has to roll and test it. So you look at her attributes. It says she's going to be looking at her luck. Well, her luck is 2, which means she's going to have 2 dice in order to roll. If you see right here, she has 2. So we're going to roll 2 dice, and she has to roll less than or equal, higher than or equal to her luck. In this case, she rolled 2. So she's going to move up her luck once, and she can continue to move. If she had failed, she would have taken a wound and had to stop where she's at. But she had 3 movement points, so now she can move again, and maybe she would want to move here, and that is an herb token. And the herb token would go out. Now, for a free action, she could pick this up right here, and what that would allow her to do would be heal one of her wounds, which she doesn't want to do yet because she is not wounded. And then she has 1 more move action, so she could move a wound action out. And let's say she wanted to move here, and she would get a decoder tile if she wanted to activate or search that location. So right now, she's used her 3 movements, which is one of her actions. Now, she can no longer move because she's already used that action, so she's got to use a second action. The things that you can do is you can heal a wound, but you can only heal people on your location or adjacent to her. So she could not heal this person, but she could heal them if they were here. You can never heal yourself except for unless it's your character's power. You could also search if you're on a corpse tile, which would be one of these tiles. Let's say she was on a tile like this. She could search. And then what you need to do is roll your dice for your luck. So now she has 3 dice for her luck. And if she rolled 3 or higher, she would gain an item card. And here are the items card. You simply take one from the deck, and you would add this item. These will do different things, like this font is really small. Place a bullet token on the evil tile. This turn the evil action point reduced by 1. This helps you when you're getting attacked. These are the top 3 map tiles and puts them back on the bottom, where they can heal. So there's all kinds of things that the items can do. If you were on the decoder spot, you could try to decode, spinning an action. You would roll your intelligence, and if you rolled 3 or higher, then you would gain one of the numbers. As I showed you, remember, once you search it, then a computer goes on it, and the next time you search it, you're going to get one of the symbols. Okay, so that's how the decoder tiles are going to work. And there's other ones in here that will give you test your agility. Corpse tiles gives you items. Herb tiles gives you the herbs. This one tests your agility. You're going to test your vitality, which is your defense. You're going to get a curse tile, which will bring out these negative cards that will come into the game, which are these event tiles. When you get a curse tile and you move on it, you have to do one of the events, which is normally all victims become unable to use skills until the end of the turn. You might see darkness. The evil's darkness spreads out over the forest. The victims immediately lose. Oh wow, that's a sneaky card. Hail. Each victim chooses to discard half their item cards, etc. So these are bad things that can happen because of the curse token. The bunker tile, which will be automatically put at the bottom of one of the 2 stacks of tiles you're drawing from. And this is a tile that kind of ends the game. Once you get there, you can play that little mini game I showed you about with the bunker tile, trying to get these things you got from the decoder tiles to equal up so you guys can get the heck out of dodge. What you're going to do most of the turn is just running. And you'll be running around the board trying to get these decoder tiles to get here, but you also need to really get your stats up. You're going to need to heal. You need to search for items that will kind of help you do that. One of the things you're really trying to do is get these stats up as far as possible on these characters so they can be more useful to you. Now, in a 2-player game, for example, in the 3rd round, what's going to happen is everybody's going to roll the dice, and whoever rolls the highest is going to have to draw a curse card. And you're going to draw a curse card, and it's going to tell you, test all victims their luck. The victim who gets the least points will be zested by the witch. So in this case, usually he's going to tell you to roll the dice, and then whoever gets the lowest will become the witch. And then you're going to have one player playing against the players, kind of like Betrayal in a House. So what's going to happen is, if you got her, you would take your miniature off and get rid of your player board, and now you're this character. And what you're going to do a lot for this is you're going to hunt. So instead of using your regular die, you are going to use this die. And you would roll this, and it would tell me how many spots you can move around the board. You don't have to worry about obstacles. When you get to somebody, let's say you're there, you can then attack them per normal. And what you would do is you roll however many dice they have on their vitality. So let's say they were up here on their vitality, and she had 2 dice. So she would roll 2 in defense, and the witch is going to roll 1. Now, the witch's dice has higher numbers on it. So let's say she rolled a 3, and they rolled a 2. Then you would take a wound and put it on the character. The character would then have one of the 2 necessary wounds to be critically injured. If they rolled, let's say they rolled, she rolled a 2, and they had rolled a 3, then they would not get injured. But since the bad guy failed, their rage would go up. And every time the rage goes up, if it goes up to 3, you're able to use your death curse here all the way to the top. Also, if you ever get 2 rage, you get one of these purple tokens, which can be very useful to you. So see the other things you can do. So the witch can perform an attack on one victim in the same or adjacent tile. Successful, she gets +1 stamina. So each round, in addition, you're going to be adding stamina to her. Now she has other ways to get stamina, so she's successful, she gets more stamina. And that's where these things will come in. So the witch, it would require her to give up 1 of her stamina. The witch attacks 1 victim on a corpse tile or her adjacent tile. After using the skill, place the yellow on the targeted tile. The victims can no longer perform search on that tile. So if she had one of these purple ones, she could spend it, and she'd put a yellow out on a tile, and nobody can search there any longer. So each of these bad guys is going to work a little bit differently. Now this one says she had 2 stamina. This one requires 2 stamina. The witch attacks all victims on a targeted decoder tile. Wow, that's right where they're at. So if there was multiple people there, she could, instead of just hitting one of them, hit all of them. And this one's usually the nastiest one, which requires you to have maxed out your rage. Remove 1 critically injured victim on the same tile as the witch from the game. Then all victims without a wound token receive a wound. Remember, this does have player elimination in it right at the end of the game. So that's kind of how she's going to move. So she's just going to move around the board, trying to attack them before they can get to the bunker tile and get off. So that's the majority of the game. I hope that kind of explains to people what's going on. I felt like it was a little unintuitive at times, but it's a very simple game to play. You're going to be playing together cooperatively, trying to find that bunker. And you're going to be going through these tiles as quickly as possible, trying to explore in order to find that bunker tile and get these decoder tiles out so you can start accomplishing your goals. But knowing that this is ticking down, and at some point, they're going to come out and serve justice upon you guys, you meddling kids. So that's how you play Victim, the Cursed Forest.